Hey there, welcome to day 8 of our 10th actual Get Up and Go challenge since the beginning of the COVID pandemic. Today we are going to talk about something that's really important for us to understand as we get started to making changes in how we deal with challenges and changes and obstacles and roadblocks and setbacks and failures and things that come down the pipe and we experience in our life. Things oftentimes that we have no control over. If I think about COVID-19, I don't know anyone personally that had any control over the pandemic, the way it was handled, the way it impacted our lives. It's just something like a tsunami that hit us all and we had to deal with it. So today we're going to talk about our change reaction. How do we deal with changes and challenges when they first happen to us? And we're going to look at our process right now. How do we deal with it right now? And we want to look at our process so that we can decide, are there things that we can do better? Are there things that we're doing that are really not in our best interest when it comes to changes and challenges? I'll give you an example. Normally, when a change or a challenge or something comes down the pipe, my first initial response is to be an ostrich, bury my head in the sand and just ignore it, pretend it didn't happen, and see what happens, and see if time changes and solves the problem for me or if it just goes away. Or I will procrastinate and not deal with it, put off making any decisions or choices about the situation. Well, that is not the best way to handle almost any change or challenge that comes our way. And that's why we want to understand what is our normal response to changes and challenges. So what we're going to look at today is something, our tool today is called the Grand Inquisitor. Obviously a Harry Potter fan, but the Grand Inquisitor just means we are going to use ourselves as our own science experiment. We are actually, you yourself are the most interesting topic on the entire planet. And I like to be my own science experiment. I like to test things out and tweak them and try them on myself, because it's really the only thing that matters is how things impact you, how things impact me is the most important thing. So the Grand Inquisitor, we put on our Grand Inquisitor hat and we start asking questions. We dig into and we try to understand and we wonder about, we're curious about what works for us, what doesn't work for us, what we've done in the past, what we do right now. And then tomorrow we'll look at, well, what might be a better response to this. So what we do is today is we want to look at our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, our emotions when it comes to facing a change or challenge. So today, think about a change or challenge. Maybe you want to go back and think to when COVID first hit. That's a big one and a good one for me. And that's why I originally looked at what is my normal process for change? What did I first do when the pandemic hit? And it's a big change that impacted almost everyone on the planet. So it's a great one to go back and look at and say, okay, what was my first response? What was my initial response? For a lot of people, their response was to just listen to the news, listen to the media, stay home, hunker down, and wait it out. Well, we are 2 years into it. I don't remember what variation we're on of COVID now. A new strain just came out. So obviously, this isn't going away anytime soon. Governments are using it and people in power are using it as a power grab and a way to control the masses. So it's not going to go away anytime soon. So it's up to us to decide what we're going to do, how we're going to respond, how we're going to live our lives going forward. And that's part of why the whole Get Up and Go challenge exists, because we need to continue to get up and go and move forward and create and move toward the things we want in our life, not just shut down and stop. So today we're going to look at our current change reaction. What do you do? When you are faced with a change? So think about a change that happened. It could be a little one. It could be a big one. Say you just went back to work. That's a change that happened. How are you responding to that? What is your response been? What are your thoughts? What are your feelings? What are your emotions? What are your beliefs about going back to work? What are your beliefs about wearing masks? What are your beliefs about any change or challenge that you're being faced with? Maybe you've had a relationship change or any other kind of change. Maybe you've gotten married. Maybe there's a new relationship that you're involved in. That's a change, right? Changes can be both positive and negative. A lot of times we're more moved by the negative changes than we are the positive changes, and they cause us to actually make changes because we think about our feelings, we think about our thoughts, we think about our beliefs. So this was actually my original change process. The first time I did this exercise, I looked at, well, what is my original change process? What event? What's something that happened? Then what was my initial emotional reaction? Was it positive or negative, or was it none? What does this mean to me? Was it short-term or long-term or infinite? Was the change something that's going to impact us forever? COVID's starting to feel like that. But initially, I just thought it was a quick short-term thing that was going to impact us for like 2 weeks, like everybody else. And then we just go back to normal. And that still hasn't happened. What do I do? What should I do? What do I need to do? What do I want to do based on this change or challenge? And what do I need for resources or help? Do I need help in order to make this change effective for me, or to make it less impactful in a negative way for me? What's my responsibility? What's my investment? Is it urgent, important? Is it necessary for me to make some changes? So when I ask myself, by being the Grand Inquisitor, all these questions, and then figure out and just list out all of these things. So all our action item is today is to share one thing that we learned about ourselves in the process of doing this, or if we thought this exercise was a waste of time. But I want you to just list out, and I haven't done it yet, but I'm just going to list out in my notebook across from my homework all of the thoughts, feelings, beliefs, initial reactions, emotions I have when I'm faced with a change or a challenge. And then what my initial response is. It's, to do nothing, procrastinate, wait it out, put my head in the sand. That is my original one. And we're going to talk about then tomorrow, what do we do with this? What do we do with these feelings and emotions and thoughts and beliefs about change, so that we can actually make a change in the way we deal with changes and challenges that will positively impact us going forward for the rest of our lives. All right, that's our assignment for today. Be the Grand Inquisitor. Look at and figure out what is your original change reaction. And that's all you have to do. List it out. What are my beliefs? What are my thoughts? What are my feelings? What are my emotions about this change? And I like to do it with one change because it's easier to think about and it's more specific than with change in general. But if you can do it with change in general, all the better. All right, any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.